Eric, your running back target, you mentioned him a little bit.
Yeah.
He was actually mentioned a bunch. I was trying not to smile when I saw it. He was coming up in the chat a whole bunch. Who do we got? Who do we got on the screen?
Mr. Dante Foreman. I know he's a guy that a lot of Bills fans have mentioned. And I know Greg and Aaron talked about him last week in their show. And again, they're coming on in half an hour. They're going to be doing the flip side. We did defense last week. They did offense, and they're flipping it this week. So while we're doing offense right now, they're going to have defense here in about a half an hour. And this is one of the guys they talked about. And I want to show you why they talked about him and why Bills fans are interested in this type of back with this guy's size. A no-nonsense type runner, downhill type guy. He's actually quite slippery for his size. You're going to see some of the footage here of him just slipping tackles quite easily, not just using the power that you would think a guy of his size would use. Very good vision, and he anticipates daylight really well. And you're going to see a lot of these runs are from under center. I think that's the next element in the Bills offense. They need to add a little more. We saw some of it, mid-zone runs, duo type runs like this duo run. We saw it last year with Cook. He broke off some really nice runs from mid-zone. Singletary was more the duo runner like this play you see here. But this is a play that actually Singletary got a really big run on last year, but it's a downhill run duo. You see this guy shooting this gap, so there's really nowhere to go front side. And so he finds daylight so well. And I called him the best duo runner in the league last year. He just finds those gaps. You see him find the backside gap, get out the backside, and then make a move on that safety. Now, he doesn't have the breakaway speed, but this is really good vision for a running back of his size and really not someone you think that would have this type of vision and anticipation or wiggle for that matter, right, Ant?
Yeah, I mean, again, like you said, he is a bigger back. I remember him coming out of Texas, and then, from a fantasy perspective, he was one of those dudes with the Texans his first couple of years where he was that like sneaky sleeper pick in round 12 or 13 of fantasy drafts where people were like, yo, D'Onta Foreman's going to be the dude. And he got hurt. It just never really worked out. But this is a good run. Like, you highlighted that free runner coming in. It's on Foreman to make him miss. Like, that's what it is. It's similar to, if the quarterback is hot with the blitz coming off, like the quarterback's got to beat the hot, and Foreman has to beat this free runner coming through. And I love how he puts his foot in the ground. He just gets upfield so quickly. Like, you wouldn't expect that kind of burst. And he changes the angle just by putting his foot in the ground. And then we get a move at the third level. He gets chased down, but it's after like a 35, 40-yard gain. Exactly as Joe says, that's good wiggle for 6'1", 235 pounds.
Yeah.
Like, he's a big dude. Again, what's nice with him, in the same way with P. Ryan, but their skill sets are different, but it's still a nice complementary piece to Cook and Hines and what they have right now. And you add that downhill aspect with some power and some burst, it's a real attractive aspect.
Yeah, and again, under center, him on the dot in the backfield. Look at the box, a really decent sized box right here. And then zone run. That's obviously Cromer's bread and butter. Again, James Cook, he excelled from under center on the dot. And these, mid zone, outside zone runs. Just look at the anticipation. So running backs are reading outside in. So you can see this is out. There's a guy right here, Levante Davis. He's hoping that Foreman comes right into that gap. But you can see Vea is getting washed right here, right? He's getting washed, but of course it's Vita Vea. And so Foreman, he senses him. He feels that wash coming. But watch as he cuts it back. He also senses that Vita Vea is cutting back on that play. So you can see the helmet of Vita Vea go back to this side. So Foreman just gets north and south. He gets north and south in a beautiful manner, finds that daylight, and then breaks off a really big run. Again, this is incredible vision for a big guy. And, yes, he dealt with some injuries when he was with the Texans. And he was kind of a slow burn developmentally and getting on the field and getting an opportunity. But when he got an opportunity with these Panthers last year, he capitalized. And so adding this type of vision and size to the Bills running back room, sign me up tomorrow.
He took over once the Panthers traded McCaffrey, and then the Panthers started to win a little bit, and everybody was making the jokes that, like, McCaffrey was the one holding back the Panthers offense. And it was because, like, Foreman was just doing things like this, like his ability to finish at the end, right? Like, he's breaking tackles 30 yards downfield, and then he's, taking it as far as he can go. Like, that's not even necessarily like why you're bringing him in. It's this initial point at the line of scrimmage, like the vision, the pacing. I love how he cuts it back immediately. Like, again, on these zone runs, you're the running back. You're just trying to flow like water, and you go wherever that opening is. And he sees the opening, but then he makes that read on Vita Vea. Like, Vea makes a great play. He's getting washed, is able to stop, get back on the outside. And Foreman's like, oh, okay, you're popping over there. Cool. I'm just going to put my foot in the ground and get upfield. Then I'm going to beat Mike Edwards, who has an angle on me, by putting my foot in the ground again. Like, Edwards, like, this isn't bad initially, but Foreman bursts upfield, and then he carries two defenders,
Yeah.
breaks the tackle, and continues to try and put some finish on this run. Again, this is a big body dude. Like, you're not expecting him to be, 5 yards in a cloud of dust, but he gives you a little bit of that in addition to, oh, that move is filthy. Like, just the movement at the line of scrimmage and the vision and the being able to put the foot in the ground and get north and south. It's real pretty.
I mean, this is textbook like bag drills as running backs.
Oh, good call.
You can see that defender beat his block, and Foreman's dead to rights. But watch the feet. Watch the lateral cut right there, the reset of the feet, and now he's still square. His eyes are up. He's looking at that next level, and guess what? Now he's cutting it again. So he's stacked a move on a move. Those bag drills from the combine, this is it right here. You see how they at the combine when they shift the bag and then you have to make a cut and then you're immediately on a bag, you have to cut back inside. Textbook. You see it here, and again, you don't expect that from this guy. It's just natural. It's all coming to him, and he's able to make moves on top of moves, and then again reset the line of scrimmage, make people miss. The box is stacked. Like, the box is stacked against him here, and he's just making guys look silly.
Great cut at the line, be able, and like you said, it like he's chaining moves together. He's stacking moves on top of moves. Really good piece. Justin comes in with the question saying, would Foreman cost around $4 million? If so, isn't that only $1 million cheaper than Singletary? Is he worth that? I think he'll fall somewhere in the $4 to $5 million a year range. But again, that's still cheap for a running back contract. And if you're getting him and pairing him with James Cook, that's a pretty cool dynamic duo. It's a little bit of that thunder and lightning piece. Eric, I also like running backs, and I think the Bills need to run the ball more. But I think that would be worth it. What say you?
Yeah, I do. And I think, as much as we loved Devin Singletary, he's just not the build of this guy, right? He's not the size of Foreman. And so it's a different dynamic. And as much as we love Singletary, he can do these kind of moves, but he doesn't have that size. You need some of that size when you're doing the short yardage stuff. And just, I think this is the contrast they need when it comes to these downhill type runs and some of that vision. I didn't think Foreman had vision like that. Here's another one. Watch this one. The defense, again, look at the box. You think they know runs coming? There's an extra offensive lineman and then two tight ends over here, right? They know a run's coming, but they don't care. The Panthers don't care. Foreman doesn't care. Another duo run. So they're all trying to wash these guys down to get a one-on-one with the running back on the corner out wide here. And watch what Foreman does. So he makes that jump cut right there, and now he's one-on-one with the corner out here. He's breaking, this tackle near the line of scrimmage. But so this corner comes up, and he's probably like, oh shit, I'm gonna have to go tackle this guy. But it's there's some finesse to his game. Watch his cutback right here. Look, oh my goodness, fine daylight. There's the anticipation. Look at like how he cuts back inside here, gets north and south, and he gets tackled there. But finding that daylight is, I did not see that coming. When I first watched this play, I'm like, holy cow, this is all set up to go against that corner. But if he goes out there and maybe he breaks the tackle on this guy, but here's Justin Simmons waiting as a secondary run defender. So, and you can see all these guys, they all know
Jewel is flowing over the top. Yep.
Yeah. So he senses this. He finds that daylight. It's definitely a strength of his. He gets north and south and gets a really nice game.
Also a really good tackle too from Alex Singleton, number 49 from the Broncos.
He's a free agent.
Yeah, he is a free agent. If he doesn't bring Foreman down, like he might still be running. He bends this back so quickly that it almost makes you think that he was like setting this up the entire time. Like he either set it up purposefully or he reads it in the blink of an eye, because it's not like, oh, where should I go? Oh, there's an opening. He sees it and is like, bang, there it is. Like he reads everybody flowing over the top. You almost have three Broncos defenders like completely stacked with Simmons, Jewel, and then the defensive lineman right in front of him. So he sees the wall that he has set up and again, puts his foot in the ground, gets north and south. The suddenness, the decisiveness, the ability to get upfield. He runs behind his pads. Like, again, it's not that he's the best running back on the open market. It's the dynamic that he adds, right? And that's what we're trying to ID for this Bills team, like a cost-effective dynamic that the team does not have, that gives them more versatility and multiplicity, and an element that they didn't previously have, but that they need to get over the hump.
And to kind of cap this segment off with Foreman, he is what I call in my notes. I put he's a 4-minute killer. So at the end of the game, like, kind of like this situation, you have to run. They know you're going to run. You're setting up the formation to tell them you're going to run. You want to run the clock out. You need a few first downs. These are the type of runs that you need at the end of the game. This is the type of running back you want punishing the opposing defense. And so I think he'd be a great contrast and fit for the Bills running back room. And also that guy that can carry that role that Singletary had as a short yardage guy, some in the red zone, but also that 4-minute